Zoning Hearing Board. Okay. Um, yeah, okay. Call meeting to order. My name is Claude Phipps. I'm the chair of the zoning board. Just so people understand. And on what we have remotely, Mr. James Hobbs. Okay. To my left is our solicitor for the zoning hearing board, Michael Connors, and Mike Pykosh. Okay. For the city, in front of me is the director of planning, okay, Jeffrey Knight, and representative from the city law department, Ms. Cameron. Thank you. Okay. Please, this is we're somewhat the zoning hearing board is a formal board. Okay. We have a transcript from this meeting is being created by our recorder. Zoning hearing board functions like a court of law. Okay, zoning hearing court's decisions are based off of facts and law, not popularity or unpopularity of a project or what seems to be to the board a good or bad project. In other words, applicants must meet a legal burden of proof that proves the elements of the variance or special exceptions that's being requested. Okay. That is good. People in the audience who are going to speak on the project, they will take the mic and they give their name and address, and everybody here will give their name and address. Okay. If there's people speaking for the project, formally, the attendants, name and address, and basically your proximity to the location in question. Okay. To that, I'm going to turn this over to listeners.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Phipps. So this evening, as the chairman indicated, we have two members. Claude Phipps is the chair, and on the phone, we have James Hobbs, who's also a member of this board. And unfortunately, Mr. Hobbs is traveling. He had a funeral to go to out of town. So what we're going to do is we're going to have, since we have a quorum present, one here and one on the phone, we're going to take some steps to appoint the chairman to be the hearing officer in this matter, to hear this matter in the absence of Mr. Hobbs, because he's going to have to leave this call as he's traveling. I just want to indicate prior to doing that we did have an item on old business. It was item number 2598. It was a special exception application for 2931 North Front Street. We did receive correspondence from the applicant's attorney on that matter that matter is being withdrawn. So there's no action to take on that as the matter's been withdrawn. So Mr. Hobbs and Mr. Phipps, what we need to do is appoint Claude Phipps to be the hearing officer for the remaining items on new business, which is application 2599, 2600, and 2601. And as a hearing officer, the municipality's planning code allows, if there's an appointment of the hearing officer to conduct a hearing and make a decision on this matter. So with that being said, is there a motion to appoint the chairman, Mr. Phipps, to be the hearing officer with respect to applications 2599, which is 236 North 2nd Street, 2600, which is 234 North 2nd Street, and 2601 for 1605 to 1613 Market Street. Mr. Hobbs, would you make?
Yes, I make a motion.
Okay. And then is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Phipps seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, the motion passes. At this point in time, for the applicants here, we're going to have the chairman be the hearing officer in this matter to conduct the hearing. Normally, this is a three-person board. There's only two right now. There needs to be another one, another member appointed, but that hasn't happened as of yet. So given the circumstances, this is how we're going to have to proceed. So with that being said, Mr. Hobbs, thank you. Thank you very much for being able to participate to establish Mr. Phipps as being the hearing officer.
You're welcome.
Okay. Safe travels.
All right, thank you.
All right.
So there's normally, since I'll be hearing it, do you have any, the applicants, do you have any issues with me hearing it by myself?
Eric Hume, I'm the attorney for the applicant on 2599 and 2600. We have no objection to you, Mr. Phipps, acting as the hearing officer and rendering a decision.
Okay, thank you. So now I'll turn this back over to the solicitor, and you can call the first case.
Okay, so the first case before the board is application 2599. It's a variance application for property located at 236 North 2nd Street in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And so we have here with us this evening Eric Hume, who is the attorney representing the applicant. Mr. Hume, do you have anybody that you foresee calling as a witness? If so, I'd like to swear them in so we can take care of that.
Yes, we have three individuals that I think should be sworn in if necessary for testimony. The first is Craig Dunkel, who's immediately to my right. He is one of the principals of the applicant. To his right is Justin Browning, who's another one of the principals for the applicant. And then also Justin Hershey, who is providing consultation services for sound engineering on the project.
Mr. Dunkel, Mr. Browning, and Mr. Hershey are the three?
Yes.
Where's Mr. Hershey? Are you there? Okay. All three of you, could you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this board is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I just,
Let the record reflect that all three answered that they would tell the truth. And then for the city planning bureau, Mr. Knight, you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this board is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
For expediency's sake, Mr. Hume, if you're okay, I have the board exhibits that were submitted that I could identify as exhibits.
Yes.
You want to proceed that way? Is that okay if I do that and then you can have your own exhibits?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. So I have marked for this application, which is the application for 236 North Front Street. It's application number 2599. The following exhibits that were received by the board, by the zoning hearing board, previous to this meeting as part of the application process. I have marked as board exhibit number 1B1, proof of publication. The time and place and particular nature of this matter was advertised in the Patriot News. Publication occurred on April 6th and April 13th, 2025. So that's exhibit B1. Exhibit B2 is a letter dated April 17th, 2025. This letter was sent from the planning director, Jeffrey Knight, to the applicant, notifying the applicant of the time and place of the hearing. Board exhibit number 3 is the hearing notice, which was posted upon the property in question, and that occurred on March 26, 2025. Board exhibit number 4 are the application or the applicant's notification letters to the required neighbors. Board exhibit number 5 is the application packet, including a dwelling unit 500-foot buffer map. Board exhibit number 6 is the deed establishing the applicant's standing to pursue zoning relief in this matter. Board Exhibit number 7 is the Planning Bureau case report. Board Exhibit number 8 is the City of Harrisburg Planning Commission resolution. Board Exhibit 9, which came in with the application, was an email exchange between the applicant and the planning director relating to similar variance request back in February 2023. So we have Board Exhibits 1 through 9 in this matter. And with that being said, Mr. Knight, if you want to, it's up to you if you want to give a synopsis or if you'd rather have the applicant go. It's up to you how you'd like to proceed.
Sure, I'll provide a brief synopsis. Essentially, the zoning relief being requested for both this one and then the related case for 234 North Second Street are the establishment of nightclub and/or dance hall or dance hall uses at both properties. So a variance is required for that for properties located in the commercial neighborhood zoning district. And per the specific criteria, such uses are not permitted within 500 feet of a dwelling unit. As the applicants do note in their application and kind of spelled out a little bit more in detail in the case report, the property has been used for live music events in the past. In researching the history of properties, particularly as they apply to non-conforming uses, we oftentimes coordinate with our tax and enforcement office as they're the ones that manage the city's mercantile permit applications as well as the amusement tax, which is kind of specific to this type of particular use because that is what is collected for live music events. So that helps to establish that live music is occurring on a property, and if that's a continual record through time, that would be the continuance of legal nonconforming use. However, if that's interrupted for a year and which is considered abandonment of that particular use, then the property must be brought back into conformance with the zoning code if somebody seeks to do that use. In speaking with our tax enforcement office, it appears that amusement tax wasn't filed post 2014 when a former business on site, which had a comedy club aspect to it, closed. And then in 2023, when the applicants were establishing the business on site, that's what the communication was for in the packet, was basically discussing this. The applicants had filed for the variance and then withdrew that at the time before it was heard at the March 2023 meetings in order to get the restaurant up and running. And then sometime in the intervening time, some live music did start up. So we consider this kind of an after-the-fact application to address this. Now, with respect to the conditions of the variance criteria, it's evident that the property was previously operating as live music. The property itself is located in the downtown area where, other live music events are held, whether that's nearby at Sawyer's or some of the larger bars up and down this stretch of 2nd Street, or even in the past for city festivals or kind of in the post-pandemic years when we were doing concerts in the middle of 2nd Street. They would shut down 2nd Street. So the building itself is certainly designed to accommodate live music. Live music is occurring elsewhere in the downtown area. And so we feel that the property itself, does have a justification for this. And I think the applicants will discuss some of the soundproofing measures they're going to take to, help ensure that any impacts are limited to the building. With respect to the 500-foot buffer around such uses, that's why we included that buffer map that was actually developed, I think, in 2022 or 2021 for another such use. And in that, when we were recommending support for that one, we developed that buffer map to basically demonstrate that there almost is no place in downtown Harrisburg where you would be able to have one of these, even in properties in which this use would be permitted by right, such as the downtown center. We had a larger one for the whole city, and it showed essentially the same thing. The downtown map just shows like the state capitol and like the UPMC campus being the only places you could have one of these that were not within 500 feet. And then the larger map shows basically the Cameron Street Industrial Corridor as being like the only place you could have these. And I would note too, in the development of that map, I believe we used multifamily dwellings as a proxy for dwelling units. So, you know, we weren't always sure whether there was an apartment over a store in a mixed-use building or something. So that might not even be everything, and of course, it's a few years out of date. But the intent of that map is to basically demonstrate that, you know, the zoning regulations themselves, like, would preclude this type of use, which is frankly a, you know, not uncommon use in cities, from occurring anywhere by right within the downtown where it would otherwise be permitted by right per the underlying zoning. So for those reasons, we feel that both the site and the building do possess aspects and conditions that justify the variance requests. And with that being said, the Planning Commission recommended the Zoning Hearing Board approve the request with the following conditions. Prior to the Zoning Hearing Board meeting, the applicant must host a community engagement session with residents within 500 feet to discuss the proposal, answer questions, and solicit support. And I believe the applicants did host that meeting on April 16th, so they have met that condition. And then prior to the Zoning Hearing Board meeting, the applicant should provide documentation regarding any proposed soundproofing measures planned for the building. The applicant's expert testimony at the Planning Commission meeting from Mr. Hershey did demonstrate that they will be, you know, meeting those, meeting the general standards for soundproofing buildings of this type. The Planning Commission recommended the Zoning Hearing Board approve the request for the following reasons. Although the nightclub or dance hall use requested by the applicant has not been operating on site for at least several years, as determined through review of all resources available to the Planning Bureau, such use did previously operate on site under multiple different businesses, establishing a history of such use that supports its reestablishment. As the applicant notes, the building in which the proposed use will be reestablished is of sturdy concrete and brick masonry construction, which provides natural soundproofing and features an open floor plan that supports a music venue. And finally, with respect to the relief from the specific criteria regarding proximity to the nearby residential units, Planning Bureau notes that the existing regulation would effectively preclude the establishment of nightclub or dance hall uses anywhere in the city, including in the downtown center zoning district in which the use is permitted by right.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. Is there, I failed to ask, is there anybody in attendance here today that is here in opposition of this application? The records show that there's none. Mr. Phipps, do you have any questions of Mr. Knight at this point in time?
Well, Mr. Knight, I think you answered it. It basically tried to satisfy requirements for nightclubs. There's no place in Harrisburg. Again, with the current existing coding standards. Okay, you'd have to go to city council and get actually an amendment to the coding standards to do something like that. So, no, I'm
Okay,
good.
Ms. Cameron, do you have any questions of Mr.? Okay,
No.
feel free anytime you have a question.
please.
just to-
No,
Okay,
they explained it very well
Yes.
at planning.
okay,
So,
great. Mr. Hume, do you have any questions of Mr. Knight?
No questions for Mr. Knight.
Okay, do you want to proceed with your case then?
Absolutely, thank you. If I may, I have some additional exhibits to present to the hearing officer.
Thank you.
And I don't know if I have enough copies for everyone, so please don't be sure. Thank you. Mr. Knight, you know, I think he accurately covered the history of this property, and it was basically to provide a little bit more detail for the hearing officer as to why we believe we're entitled to variance relief in this case. This property, I mean, historically, for the last 30 years, has been part of the Restaurant Row revitalization, has served as a nightclub on several occasions, and thank you, trying to reduce the feedback. And you know, the interesting thing about this property, which I didn't even realize until I got involved in this case, is that the property itself, even though there's windows, for example, on the exterior of the property, they're actually covered on the inside. So this property is extensively soundproofed from its prior use. So, and actually to convert this property to something that would not be used as a nightclub, in other words, to expose those windows to the inside, That would be an extremely expensive proposition. And if you look at Exhibit 4, which we've provided, that's an estimate from Widener Construction. And in that instance, they're indicating that in order to comply with all the costs to make this economically viable, I mean, it's approaching almost $1 million. So, it's our belief that there's a real hardship here in that in order to comply with the ordinance, my client would have to invest an inordinate amount of money just in order to make it suitable for a permitted use in the district. We'll also note that, I know there was some question at the Planning Commission whether financial hardship is valid for a variance. There are Pennsylvania decisions that have indicated that yes, that financial hardship in some circumstances can be grounds for a variance. But I don't think you even need to get there. I think if you look at this property, it's been in this configuration for years. It's got a masonry and concrete construction that naturally absorbs sound. My client did not create the conditions. And I think most importantly, this is not going to have an adverse effect on the neighborhood. If you look at the history of this property, it's been used this way for 30 years, and therefore there's really no concern that it's going to change the neighborhood because the neighborhood's been used to this. I think in support of that also, if you look at applicant's Exhibit 5, there's a long list of letters of support that have been provided, and all these are people. Some of them are located right in the vicinity of the property. Others are stakeholders in the community, and they all agree that this would be a valuable project for the city. In regards to the conditions that were discussed at the Planning Commission meeting, I can indicate that on April 16th, there was a community meeting that was advertised and held. That was held actually at the property. And at that time, any questions that were asked, my client was able to address. As I said, we do have 3 witnesses available. Happy to place some testimony on the record or answer any questions that the hearing officer may have. But I also don't want to belabor the point either.
Well, that's up to you. I mean, if you want to put on some testimony, you could do that. It's up to you, however you want to proceed.
No, I think we've laid it out pretty well in the, in our narrative in support of the application. So I think at this point, you have a pretty good idea of what we're requesting. And
so, just so I have all the exhibits, did you hand this narrative in support of use variances? Is this the updated, it has a little A1 on the bottom, is that?
I don't know if it has an A1 on the bottom, but yes, there's a narrative in support of use variances.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, let me just say that it wasn't in the packet you handed to the board, but what I pulled out was an updated narrative, because with the initial application, it was a different narrative, and I imagine, Mr. Hume, before you were retained, right? And then you prepared it after that, correct? If you might, though, why don't you come up and just take a look at it, verify, because it wasn't in the initial packet, and in your packet, you said it was previously received, just so it's complete.
Yes.
The updated narrative,
That was
right?
the updated narrative.
Okay.
Okay, so, Mr. Hume, what I'm going to do is I'll mark this as A1, applicant 1. And then your other packet of exhibits, I'll mark the whole packet as A2, but then it's tabbed. So just so we have a complete record,
Yes, that's acceptable.
okay? And then, is it Mr. Dunkel? So are you, the application and the updated narrative, are you in agreement with everything that's contained in those 2 documents?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're one of the principals of the applicant? Is that correct? Okay. Does anybody, okay. Mr. Phipps, do you have any questions of the?
Yes, two questions. You indicated on 4/16, you met with the, and this is to address one of the variances with the neighbors, to basically the 500-foot rule, and they were in support of it. Do you have any documentation? I know sometimes like a petition or something.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. We'll get to those. Thank you, that's one. And my second set of questions is that, and this, we tend to ask this off of any businesses, any type of business on Second Street. Let's talk about security. Okay, a little bit. Have you spoken with Harrisburg Police Department to basically understand that there could be some additional security arrangements for this environment? And I'm saying that because of the activities that have taken place this year on Second Street. So make sure it's covered.
My name is Justin Browning. I live on Custer Drive in Harrisburg. I'm the managing partner of the
Do you
property.
swear you,
You
sworn in? Okay, good. That's right.
Since that particular incident, which I believe you're referencing from Patty's weekend, there has not been police presence on Second Street. But we do operate this facility with 12 to 15 security personnel every night that we're open. We do still have a good relationship with not only the Harrisburg Police Department, but the Capital City Police Department. They do patrol regularly. They stop just to check on us. We have a first-name basis with them, at least I do. And I also operate JB Love Drafts on Second Street and Sawyer's Diner on Second Street. So at each of these properties, we have an excessive amount of in-house security that we use that's on our personal payroll. It's not an outside team. And they all go through a training period, a 90-day probationary period. They are all given a handbook on how to properly ascertain a situation. We have a hands-off policy with customers. Everything is as much talking as possible without using physical force. And in the month or so since that incident happened outside of the venue, there's been absolutely no problems on Second Street that I'm aware of. So I'd say things are in good standing.
Any video surveillance equipment that you will have, cameras and stuff in your property?
There
And
are-
what would be the time frame for, the capture time frame? for
Yes, there are 40 cameras in 236 North Second Street alone.
Okay.
234 has not been set up yet. We haven't begun construction. We're waiting on this hearing.
Okay.
We do have cameras there.
Absolutely.
And what's the capture period of time? How
We'll have
long?
at least 60 days. I'm just sworn in. I'll be handling their cameras as well. We'll have a time period of at least 60 days of
Good, okay.
recorded footage, realistically between 60 and 90.
Okay. Again, and if there is something issue takes place, that you'll be able to release that to HPD or county DA for further investigations?
Absolutely.
Okay. They don't have to go back and, well, they'll have to get a warrant either way, so, okay. Last but not least, you were talking about soundproofing the place, and the cost would be prohibitive, almost $1 million if you had to really go out and soundproof it, but
That's pertaining to 236 specifically.
Okay.
234 is a different story.
I was thinking it's glass, and the glass stops, you basically, I hope the glass is safety glass?
On the exterior of 236,
To clarify.
236, yes.
The comment was made to the change of use. Currently, the building is fully soundproofed. We inherited it that way.
Okay.
A substantial installation of soundproofing was done inside the walls and then drywalled over. So I guess that discussion or argument point was that to undo all that would be, and to convert it back to a conforming use would be extremely costly.
Okay. Well, I was just thinking, sometimes we have people get a little rambunctious in the city, okay? The glass itself, the glass is safety glass, so it would take a sizable effort to basically cause that glass to shatter and cause any injury?
The glass is reinforced in the building. The glass is reinforced in the building. We haven't had any issues with any
Okay,
glass.
so it's not plexiglass, okay. That's all the questions I have.
Okay. Are there individuals here today that want to speak either for or against this project? They could come up, stand by the microphone so we could pick you up on the TV channel here. Just state your name, whether or not you reside in the city or not.
I'm Mark Santana. I live in the 200 block of Liberty Street. I've lived in downtown Harrisburg since 2000, so about 25 years. I'm the president of the Capital Area Neighbors. It's called CAN for short abbreviation. Our organization's been in existence for 30 years, even before I even got here. We had fought off the federal courthouse from taking over our neighborhood on North Street and made them move up where they are in Midtown. Our district goes from Front Street to 3rd, Forster to Walnut Street. So it's basically the whole downtown center, as Mr. Knight had described. And it encompasses all 500 feet of the area that, I forget what you guys called it. Yeah, 500 area. As a condition, Mr. Browning reached out to me and asked us to hold a town hall meeting for him. We sent in, I think he contacted me on Friday. We sent a message to our membership on Friday. We don't have our next board meeting until May 14th, but we sent a message out to membership on Friday. We sent a reminder out on Monday, and then on the 16th itself, we sent out a third reminder. And we all came down, went through the establishment. He described what he was planning on doing, answered any questions or concerns that people had. There's people that sent me emails that couldn't be there that I asked questions on their behalf. I didn't hear anyone from all those communications give any kind of opposition or saying that they didn't want the project to move forward. I think everybody was kind of surprised that, you know, historically that was the Vault, and they're like, well, that was been a nightclub for so many years. I think people were kind of surprised that they had to go through this process, but our group is supporting his project, and we're kind of excited for things to be different in Harrisburg because it's been kind of a dry spell and dead down here lately. So we're looking, for the economics increase as far as recreational possibilities.
Thank you, sir, for coming here and speaking. Is there anybody else?
About 700 block of Green Street. I'm part of the same organization that Mark is.
Your last name is Webb?
WBB. Without repeating too much of what Mark had to say, I was impressed with the meeting. They answered all of our questions, and they reassured me personally that the route they're going is going to be a little bit different than what I had expected. Having been for about 20-some years, I've seen ups and downs in the city. I've seen some of the incidents you were addressing. I think they have a different way of doing things. And I think they're going to do things a lot better than having previously done. Plus, the establishment is going to have live music. I know a lot of the residents are excited to come down to it, just to have something besides just drinks in a restaurant. So it's going to be an anchor. Maybe bring some other people like Tim, stay at the Hilton. A little more for the downtown than what we've seen.
Thank you. Thanks for coming tonight. Mr. Hume, I just wanted to make sure you had some correspondence with an attorney regarding a neighboring property. Was that condition that you talked about for this property or for the other property or for both?
It's for the next property, for 234.
Do you have anything else? Anybody else have anything with regard to this? If not, we'll close the testimony and then we usually will
Quick recess.
take a quick recess and then come back and Mr. Phipps will make a decision.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have anything else that you'd like to, or closing or anything?
No, just two quick things. For one, I just asked Mr. Dunkel if you could just confirm everything that I presented to the board in my presentation. Was that accurate?
It's accurate.
Second, I just asked then for the admission of applicants' exhibits.
Okay. Yeah, all the exhibits, Exhibit A1 and A2, and board exhibits B1 through B9 are all admitted into evidence. Is that correct, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Nothing else?
Nothing else.
We'll take a recess now.
5-minute recess.
Thank you.
Stay away. Can stay away. No.
Also thought you.
Yeah, yes, we did. It was just so big. Usually I just click on it and it opens. There's not usually so many.
Right.
So then once I downloaded it, I opened it right away. But, yeah, they'll both be able to make it. I think I'm gonna send all three of them down the 27th of May.
Okay.
'Cause they-
Yeah, well, that's plenty of time.
Yeah, and then they still have enough sessions to get through by before the deem date, July 1st.
Was it July 1st? I thought it was June.
Well, the 5-5 one would technically be.
The 5-5, that was different.
It would be June 11th, but they're agreeing to the continuance.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, remember when we were here, they agreed to the continuance. That gave them 7 more minutes.
Gotcha.
And if not,
Okay. All right, yeah, I was just like, I was trying to run to get them done today, hopefully get this one done.
Okay, we'll go back on the record. Mr. Knight, we just had a quick question. The resolution of the Planning Commission indicated 2 conditions, but it's my understanding that those conditions have already been met. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, so, can everybody hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
So based off of the testimony, all the information provided by the Planning Bureau and by the applicants, I'm gonna approve this request. So thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for speaking up. Okay, I always said that has a lot to do, a lot of times with decision criteria here. We see neighbors in support of projects. Okay, I think that helping, so.
Okay,
Thank you.
and like always, the approval is in accordance with the application and everything that was presented and represented here today. And Mr. Hume, would you be okay if the written decision would be sent to you via email?
Yes, that's acceptable.
In 45 days?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so that is, application.
99 schools, 2600 next.
Yep, so, case number 2600 is next. Mr. Hume, you have this one also?
Yes.
We'll, since these are all separate cases, it seems redundant, but we're gonna have to go through and swear, let's just go through, Greg Dunkel, Justin Browning, and Justin Hershey. You were just sworn in the previous, hearing that we had. Would you agree that you continue to be sworn in and that the testimony you're about to give before this board in this particular application for application number 2600 for 234 North 2nd Street is going to be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, it is.
Okay, we'll let the record indicate that all answered in the affirmative. And then, Mr. Knight, you would agree that you continue to be sworn in. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so with this one, I'm going to mark exhibits that the board has already obtained. And then just for the record, we also have from the Law Bureau, Attorney Tirsa Cameron here representing the Law Bureau. So for this matter, I've marked as board exhibits, Exhibit B1, board exhibit number 1 is the proof of publication. The time and place and particular nature of this matter was advertised in the Patriot News, which is a newspaper of general circulation for the city of Harrisburg, and this publication occurred on April 6th and April 13th of 2025. Board exhibit number 2 is the letter dated April 17, 2025 from the planning director, Jeffrey Knight, to the applicant, notifying the applicant of the time and place of this hearing. Board exhibit number 3 is the hearing notice posted upon the property in question, and that posting occurred on March 26, 2025. Board exhibit number 4 is the applicant's notification letters to required neighbors. Board exhibit number 5 is the application packet, design proposal, floor plans, budget proposal, and dwelling unit 500-foot buffer map. That's all exhibit number 5, B5. B6 is the deed establishing the application's standing in order to pursue zoning relief in this matter. Board exhibit number 7 is the Planning Bureau case report. Board exhibit number 8 is the City of Harrisburg Planning Commission resolution. And board exhibit number 9 is a letter of support that was submitted as a part of this record from Justin Douglas, Dauphin County Commissioner / Chairman. So we have board exhibits number 1 through 9, and then, yep. So, Mr. Knight, again, it would be up to you if you would like to give a little synopsis or.
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
So the issues inherent in this particular request are very similar to that of the previous request. There are probably 2 distinctions. The first being the length of abandonment. It was a somewhat similar time frame, but it's a little bit more unclear. It appears that the last time there was a formal live music happening that we collected amusement tax for was about 2014. But in discussions with our tax enforcement officer, he indicated that in subsequent years, they were performing some live music, but they were giving the proceeds to the Central Penn Food Bank. So we weren't really collecting tax, but he was in conversation with both the owner of the property and the Central Penn Food Bank to confirm that they were receiving payments. But then sometime around 2018, those ceased, and he formally closed the amusement tax log for the property in January of 2019. So there had been about 5 years, 6 years of abandonment of this particular use. And then the other being that the use has not been established yet. So this is a totally new issue here being brought before the board. As in contrast to the former one. In this case, the property is much larger than the other property, and it was originally a bank, so it was designed, with similar sturdiness to construction, the materials of construction designed to be impenetrable. So that's from the outside in, presumably, going inside out. The sound will also not be an issue. Again, in contrast to the other building, in this one they will be installing new soundproofing, so it wasn't already on site. This will be installed as part of this proposal. And during the Planning Commission testimony, the applicants noted they had visited the adjacent property at 226 North 2nd Street with the property owner. Played the music at the, decibels that they anticipate during shows, and there were no impacts, and from what I recall, it was largely non-auditory in that adjacent property. So, we likewise anticipate that there will be even less of an impact once the soundproofing goes in for this particular property. And again, with respect to the relief from the specific criteria, the same considerations would apply to the previous case. The use, the location of use is such that there's no way for this particular live music proposal to be established without being within 500 feet, and even in any zoning district in which it was otherwise permitted, wouldn't be feasible by right in downtown Harrisburg here. So for these reasons, the Planning Bureau and the Planning Commission are recommending approval. The only difference, there are two differences in the Planning Commission's resolution of approval. The first being that the applicant must remove the permanent fence enclosing the seating area in front of the building, and the applicants have removed that. That was an issue we had with the previous business on site. It created constraints for pedestrians, especially during busier periods at night or in the winter when snow gets plowed up on the sidewalk. It really constricts that walking area, and it wasn't ADA compliant. So the removal of the fence there definitely improves that situation. And then the Planning Commission did want to make a note that that any hardships imposed by the historic district designation would not be considered a justification for the approval. The Planning Bureau did not bring those into consideration in our recommendation, but they just wanted that to be said. And I think the applicants clarified that at the Planning Commission meeting, that they weren't saying that the historic district would prevent them from going back to a conforming use or anything, but the Planning Commissioners wanted that explicitly noted in the resolution. And the reasons for the Planning Commission's recommendation of approval are the same, although the nightclub or dance hall use requested by the applicant has not been operating on site for at least several years, as determined through review of all resources available to the Planning Bureau. Such use did previously operate on site under multiple different businesses, establishing a history of such use that supports its reestablishment. As the applicant notes, the building in which the proposed use will be reestablished is of sturdy concrete and brick masonry construction, which provides natural soundproofing and features an open floor plan that supports a music venue. And finally, with respect to the relief from the specific criteria regarding proximity to the nearby residential units, Planning Bureau notes that the existing regulation would effectively preclude the establishment of nightclub or dance hall uses anywhere in the city, including the downtown center zoning district in which the use is permitted by right.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. I have a quick question now. So the Planning Commission's conditions, they have both been met, is that true?
Well,
Or
so
all three of them, or no?
yeah, in this case, again, the soundproofing hasn't been installed yet, but I
Oh, yeah,
believe
right.
that's a part of the building permit documentation that they have submitted to begin the work here, which is being, held until tonight's meeting and a decision is made. But due to the testimony and that documentation, we consider the conditions having been met, yes.
Okay, we'll address that. And then the other thing is this permanent fence that was removed. If for some reason this applicant should put a fence back up, would they need a permit to put it back up, or does there need to be a condition saying it can't go up anymore, like ever again?
Yeah, we do have annual sidewalk use permits that are applicable for restaurant uses downtown that want to put seating out. The last business that was on site did put this, the fence that was permanently anchored into the ground. It wasn't like having the little airport stanchions that some of the restaurants put out there, and it was frankly an issue that we were butting heads with them for a while on, and it just kind of didn't end up getting resolved. So the applicant's frankly proactive resolution of that particular issue is, really appreciated, because it was an issue. And going forward, or looking back, subsequent to the installation of this fence, we haven't allowed any permanent installations in the sidewalks here. And in fact, there were a couple other uses, Kielta's being one. When that got reused, we had them take the fence out there. The Red Door Zias that happened to had them take the fence out. So we've been having people remove these permanently anchored fences into the sidewalk. So it's not something that we'd probably approve in the future.
Okay. We'll get to your stuff then. Do you have any questions, Mr. Phipps of Mr. Knight? Ms. Cameron, do you have any questions? Okay. Mr. Hume, do you have any questions of Mr. Knight?
No questions.
Okay. Do you want to proceed?
Yes, thank you. I guess first, just a matter of housekeeping, I would ask that the record from 2599 also be incorporated into this case, just for the sake of clarity.
Okay, we could do that. So, if for some reason there's an appeal, then both records would go up. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, we'll note that.
And then I do have another exhibit packet, and I would ask that I do not have the narrative that was submitted, so we.
Well, let's look at that, Mr. Hume. So we printed out this updated narrative. I just want to make sure, does it include these photos also?
Yes.
So this whole packet, contractor's affidavit, all that?
Yes, that's
Okay.
also in this packet as
That's in
well.
that package.
It's in
That's why
both.
the narrative.
All right. Oh, so just a written narrative?
Just a written narrative.
Okay. Okay, so let me just do this so I don't get mixed up here. Okay, so I'm going to mark the updated narrative for 234 North 2nd Street as Exhibit A1. And then you're handing me an exhibit packet. As we did in the last record, we're going to mark this as Exhibit A2. And then you have subsequent tabs on that.
Yes,
Is that acceptable?
that is acceptable.
Okay, you can proceed then. Thanks.
Thank you. Just building upon a little bit what Mr. Knight had presented. So this property at 234 North Second Street, this property is over 100 years old. The vast majority of its existence, it was used as its first federal savings and loan. Then it did have a nightclub use, and most recently was used as a federal tap house. What my clients are proposing is they want to turn this into a live music venue known as Capital City Music Hall. The intent here is to take advantage of the masonry and poured concrete structure and utilize its natural soundproofing as well as the reinforced floors and the large open floor plan. As with the property at 236, this property is unique in that it's due to its construction and the way it's been adapted over the years for the restaurant and nightclub use. It would be very difficult to use this structure for anything else. That'd be very expensive. If you look at the applicants 2, tab 4, that's the report from our contractor. In there, he indicates that it would be over $1 million potentially in order to convert and update this property for a use that's permitted by right in this zoning district. One of the concerns that has been raised on this one has been the soundproofing. What I'd like to do, I think it would probably be a little bit more efficient if I just have Mr. Hershey answer a couple quick questions for the board to explain how the property is now, what testing was done, and what is intended for the future. So, Mr. Hershey, I don't know if you want to slide up so you can.
Would you like me to go to the imaginary mic?
Your voice should carry.
That's very wireless. Yeah. Hey, my name's Justin Hershey, 17 East Cooper Street, Mechanicsburg. I am the principal and head engineer at Hershey AV Solutions. We design and install low voltage systems as well as acoustic treatment. We have a pretty strong foothold here in Harrisburg, everywhere from XL to Riverfront to Bethel Temple. We will be handling the acoustic treatment and the audio reinforcement in the room. Beyond what the room is already capable of, we're looking at achieving a 75 to 80% reduction in sound transmission of all frequencies, from high frequencies to bass frequencies, from inside of the building to out on any of its 4 sides. Everything we're doing is done under the guidelines of UL listing for fire rating and for smoke index according to all safety measures and then beyond so as much. We did recreate 105 decibels A-weighted in the room and met with Angelo next door from Zemby's, who went into the hallway with no transmission. We are still going to treat that wall just as we would as if he could hear through it to make sure we maintain good neighbor policy and also to improve the acoustics inside the room for the bands. I've been a part of that building since it was Dragonfly. We used to do concerts in there as well. The volume that was achieved at that time, 20 years ago, is no longer acceptable in my industry, as it's just beyond the threshold of pain. So we will be generating less volume in the room than had been in prior use without the treatment that we have proposed to install. Is there any questions you guys have on me?
Do you have any questions from that?
No, I had two, I'm looking at your example here. You're gonna have Nancy on both, this is a two-story facility, correct? Okay, and I see the steps in the elevator. On that second story, is that gonna be where the major dancing and?
It'll be a mezzanine. It'll be reduced square footage, but there will also be a separate sound system to facilitate volume up there.
Okay.
And what we do that for is so that there isn't one very loud volume source. There are several volume sources of a reduced decibel that it reaches more people in more areas.
Counterbalance?
Yes.
Okay.
Like several lights instead of one bright one is the way I always propose it.
Okay. Engineering studies did work. Okay. Okay. Outside of that, I'm looking at the examples, there's not a lot of I see that the only entry points are, I'm looking at your example of section 3, the example at the top, number 2, that's the major entry to the facility, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there's no, again, so issues I had with the other building, there's no exposed glass or anything as much.
There is some, and we will be using portable gobos, which are sound reduction devices that are on wheels that will help us eliminate from any glass while also being easily movable if we need anything beyond the already approved egress plans for fire escape. Should we need wider doors out front, they are on wheels and can be moved aside very easily.
And my question is, as it with the other one, that glass will be safety type glass or something, not easily shatterable, okay? And thinking with the security issues, it's right next to each other, so I guess one place, if there's an issue, it'll be.
We will also be facilitating the cameras in this place. We also have 60 to 90 days of high-resolution footage available to the police and anyone requesting.
Okay, did you have further questions of the witness, Mr. Hume?
Just one, Mr. Hershey, just to confirm, I'm showing you what's on applicants 2, tab 5. Is this the report you prepared for the work that'll be done to the space?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And based on your experience, will this further reduce any acoustic energy that would go into Zemby's property?
Yes, by scientifically 70–80%. Hearing is not linear, it's logarithmic, so it's a pretty substantial reduction.
Yes.
And to be completely honest, it is also to accommodate the sound inside as well, which will be pleasing to both sides of it.
Okay.
And on the record and off topic, if you guys would like that feedback eliminated, my number's on the piece of paper over there, because it's driving me nuts.
No problem at all. Okay.
Just very briefly, Mr. Dunkel, you heard my presentation to the hearing officer. Is everything I indicated accurate?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Also wanted to mention that there is, as with the prior application, there have been several letters in support that were provided. They are in tab 6, and these are from individuals both in the vicinity of the property as well as community stakeholders. And just to confirm, the conditions that were requested by or imposed by the Planning Commission, as Mr. Knight indicated, the fencing was removed from the sidewalk, and it was a joint community meeting on April 16th for both this property and 236.
Okay. And then one other question. This is the property where there was correspondence with the Zemby's owner's attorney regarding, it's my understanding that your clients are agreeable that that the sound level for performances will not exceed 105 decibels on the sustained basis. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And then with regards to the fence was removed, but Mr. Dunkel, are you agreeing that you will not install another permanent fence?
Yield to Justin.
Or Mr. Browning? Yeah.
The property next door, 236, will be using similar structures. They're referred to as bike rack. It's a metal structure that interlocks. It's able to be taken down at night. It's for safety purposes only. We use it for forming a line so that it doesn't go out to the street, and then for corralling people because it's not a smoking facility.
Okay. Is that acceptable, Mr.?
Yes, it would be.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
They wouldn't be grandfathered in if later on they decide to change their mind, they would have to come back for a special, for an exception for that, correct?
Yeah, they would have to come back to get a relief from a condition of your decision.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So if this is approved with the conditions set forth in the resolution of the Planning Commission, that would suffice the city?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Is there anybody from the, here tonight from the audience that would like to speak with regards to this application? If you want to come up to the imaginary mic.
Since this hearing has already been associated with the other record, I won't say the same things again, but I did want to.
Just for the record, could you tell us your name?
Sure. I'm Mark Santana, on the 200 block of Liberty Street. I'm the president of the Capital Area Neighbors. Our neighborhood group had a meeting on the 19th, or the 16th, and we had 3 notices out to our membership. We asked for if anyone was in opposition. We did not hear anyone in opposition. People that couldn't make it to the tour that Mr. Browning had given us questions to ask him to report back to them. Everyone that had asked those questions had gotten satisfactory answers, and our group supports the applicant.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else?
Eric Webb, 708 Green Street.
Okay,
Just not to have Groundhog Day here, just, this project's in there positive, so we're all in favor.
okay. And then your comments from the last hearing are incorporated into this one? Is that acceptable?
Yes, very simple.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hume, do you have any other, anything else you want to present?
Just a comment for the hearing officer that we referenced the condition that would be imposed about the 105 decibels sustained. The property owner that had requested that was the owner of Zemby's, and he indicated that with that condition, he is in support of our application.
Thank you. If nobody else has anything, we'll have a short recess, and I'll be back in a few minutes then, okay?
Well,
I believe the noise ordinance for the city is on the docket. It was supposed to be last week and it got moved.
so I don't know. I was here.
Was it passed?
Last week.
We'll go back on the record. Mr. Phipps, is it the case that you're willing to approve this application contingent upon the conditions set forth in the resolution of the Planning Commission, as well as a condition that the sound level for performances with respect to 234 North Second Street will not exceed 105 decibels on a sustained basis?
It is, I approve at that point, with the exceptions that were stated by Mike.
Okay. So your application's been approved with those conditions. Mr. Hume, again, I'm going to ask, is it acceptable if the decision, which is rendered within 45 days, if that is sent via email to you?
Yes, that is acceptable.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My side of the table.
Absolutely. Try to live up to your expectations over here.
The lights are brighter over here.
I'll get back. That's why you're always sweating.
Okay, we're going to go back on the record with respect to application 2601, which is a special exception application for the property located at 1605 to 1613 Market Street in the city of Harrisburg. So what we'll do is, again, Jeffrey Knight is the Director of Planning who's here this evening. Mr. Knight, if you raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this board is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I also want to note that Tirsa Cameron is here, counsel for the city of Harrisburg. And then the applicant, if you would like to introduce yourselves and let us know who's going to be testifying so we could swear them in.
Yeah, my name's Sean O'Toole. I'm with On Hill Development, which is a consultant to the applicant, handles Helping Hands Foundation. I don't know if there's going to be any testimony, but I can swear myself in just in case.
Mr. O'Toole, are you an attorney?
Yes.
Okay, and you're representing the applicant?
And not necessarily in my capacity as a lawyer.
Oh, okay.
I'm with On Hill Development, which is also a consultant on this matter.
Okay. And then who's with you also?
Zen Geist with Integrated Consulting, the design engineer of record for this project.
Okay. So why don't we just, out of precaution, we'll have you both sworn in. If you raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give regarding this matter to this board this evening is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, we'll let the record reflect that both answered in the affirmative. I'm going to mark exhibits that we have received in this matter of record. I've marked as board exhibit number 1 is a proof of publication. The time and place and particular nature of this matter was advertised in the Patriot News. The Patriot News is a newspaper of general circulation for the city of Harrisburg. Publication occurred on April 6th and April 13th, 2025. Board exhibit number 2 is the letter dated April 17th, 2025, from the planning director, Jeffrey Knight, to the applicant, notifying the applicant of the time and place of the hearing. Board exhibit number 3 is the hearing notice, which was posted upon the property on March 26, 2025. Board exhibit number 4 is the applicant's notification letters to the required neighbors. Board exhibit number 5 is the application packet, including 19 photographs of the exterior of the property, preliminary/final subdivision and land development plan renderings of the proposed structure and floor plans. Board exhibit number 6 is a resolution of the City of Harrisburg Redevelopment Authority designating the applicant as a potential developer of the property and thus establishing the applicant's standard to pursue the zoning relief this evening. Board Exhibit number 7 is the Planning Bureau case report, and Board Exhibit number 8 is the City of Harrisburg Planning Commission resolution. So I have Board Exhibits 1 through 8. And as we normally do, Mr. Knight, if you would like to give a synopsis with regards to this application.
Sure.
Thanks.
This particular application is 2 special exceptions related to the development of a 9-unit affordable housing project on the subject properties. The first is for the proposed multifamily dwelling use, and the second is for relief from the off-street parking requirements, as no parking will be provided on site. The project site itself are a collection of parcels that have been owned by the Harrisburg Redevelopment Authority for, I think, probably 20 plus years. I think in going back through the application, I believe the properties were demolished around 2013 or 2014 that were on there. They were demolished by the city and hence were granted to the redevelopment authority to look for redevelopment opportunities of just such this type. There isn't really much activity going on the site. There, it looks like there was at one point a community garden, but over the last few years, the activity on there definitely seems to have lessened, if not outright ceased altogether. The project as designed, outside of the 2 special exceptions being requested, is otherwise in conformance with the applicable development standards with respect to setbacks, impervious surface coverage, landscaping, and then density, because the project will be filed through the city's affordable housing program. The project is eligible for the density bonuses granted by that section of the zoning code, and thus the proposed 9 units are in conformance with that section of the zoning code. With respect to the off-street parking, while the Planning Bureau would be supportive of the full relief from the 5 off-street parking required for such a development, it should be noted that the applicants have provided a draft letter with the owners of 1501 Market Street, which is a church which has an on-site parking lot to lease spaces there if necessary in their lot. So again, while we are recommending support for the full relief, the applicants do have an alternative to secure parking if necessary. With all of that being said, the Planning Commission has recommended that the Zoning Hearing Board approve the request with the following conditions. The applicant will receive approval of the lot consolidation and land development plan submitted concurrently with the zoning relief application, and any departmental recommendations and or conditions of approval applied to that review. The Planning Commission recommends by a unanimous vote that the Zoning Hearing Board approve the request for the following reasons. The project conforms to the goals, objectives, and action items in the comprehensive plan by constructing a compatible infill development featuring affordable units in a vacant site along a priority corridor in the city. The project site is located in a mixed-use corridor with nearby residential, commercial, and institutional uses, and thus the proposed use shall not have an adverse impact on the neighborhood. The project is designed to reflect the use, massing, and configuration of most properties along the block specifically and in the surrounding neighborhood generally. Approval of the proposal will enhance the character of the neighborhood and improve the streetscape of the corridor by developing long-standing vacant lots with a new infill development and associated site improvements, providing affordable housing and demand throughout the city. And finally, the proposed development will add new residents to the neighborhood to activate the street on nights and weekends and to grow a customer base to support local businesses.
Okay. Mr. Phipps, do you have any questions of Mr. Knight?
No, I don't. Pretty straightforward.
So, Mr. Knight, I just want to make sure on the conditions. There's one for the lot consolidation, I understand. The second one I guess we'll hear testimony on that, but you did forward to me this draft letter. I'm gonna mark that as Board Exhibit number 9, so we'll have that as part of the record. Is there also a condition that this property conform with the affordable housing standards? That I know there's a separate ordinance with regards to that reduces some of the requirements.
Correct, and that was actually included as a condition of approval on the lot consolidation and land development plan application. So that's why we tie these two together, so that one applies to the other. They're not looked at independently. They're
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I didn't understand that. Okay. Mr. O'Toole, do you want to proceed with your matter? Yeah.
We really have nothing more to add, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you have any questions,
Yeah, so
Mr.
I-
Phipps?
Yeah, so I have a couple of questions. I didn't want to give them to Mr. Knight, so I'll give them to you. Would you, again, these units will be affordable housing. Do this to you. What do you consider the price range on what these units are going to be? For the people, you say it's affordable, so what are you using as your measuring stick?
So to be filed through the affordable housing, that is subject to 80% of the AMI for the city. So that's included within the affordable housing program legislation. So it's not something that's like flexible or open to interpretation for different developments. So if they are submitting through that, they'll have to follow that affordability index.
Yeah.
The reason I ask that because, we've had other units that come up in the city and they'll tell me fair market value, and I'm saying, but it's supposed to be targeted as an affordable housing. So what do you consider fair market value versus affordable housing?
Yeah.
Okay, I need
But,
that.
yeah, but I think what Mr. Knight's saying is, because they're, like, those applicants were just saying, hey, it's gonna be affordable.
Yes.
Yeah.
This applicant is actually filing under part of the ordinance that requires them to be, it gives them a standard as to, so that'll set the rent for them, and that's been considered to be affordable.
And this funding model basically takes that into consideration.
It does, yeah. That's the whole purpose of that, yeah.
Right, they have to or they won't.
Yeah.
That's how they get the density and the off-street parking. If they don't have that, it's like they certify, then they certify that it is within that.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then those aren't.
They don't, they'd fall out of
Then they're outside of it,
compliance with the
and they're
zoning
here,
code.
then they're here again, so.
Yeah.
When this is done,
It says the current owner is, that those lots are the redevelopment authority of Harrisburg. So who owned this afterwards?
As we proceed towards the beginning of construction, at some point in time, the Harrisburg Redevelopment Authority we have an agreement with them that they will convey each of the parcels to handle Helping Hand Foundation, the applicant.
Okay. So Helping Hands Foundation, they'll be the eventual owners of
Oh,
this.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. I really don't have anything, I actually looked this over. I don't have anything else to say. This is pretty straightforward. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you wanna take a break? Okay. Okay.
Made my decision already.
So you're good with approving?
Yes.
Okay. So, we'll close the testimony at this point in time. It's my understanding, Mr. Phipps had indicated.
I have one exception.
Yeah.
Okay, so the parking requirement, I have a letter here from the Rock Church that you're going to lease parking spots, and that basically that satisfies the requirement for special exception for parking, correct?
Well, I think what the city is saying that they're okay with it without that, but that they're asking them to, move forward to try to obtain those if they can.
Okay.
Is that correct, Mr. Knight?
Yeah.
My next question that would have been is if that was still a requirement, the cost of renting those slots from the block church, would that be passed on to the residents? Or would that just be part of overhead for maintenance of the building?
I would anticipate it be part of overhead. I don't expect it to be excessive.
Okay, good.
Okay. So you just indicated to me, Mr. Phipps, just that is it your decision that you would approve this application conditioned upon those conditions as set forth in the resolution of the Planning Commission, conditions 1 and 2?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Okay, so I approve.
Okay.
Conditions have been set.
Sounds good. Okay. So a written decision will be issued within 45 days of today's date. And I just want to make sure, because who would be, Mr. O'Toole, is this?
Helping Hands.
I just
Helping
wanna-
Hands is the applicant, right?
Okay, so if we send that written decision to Handles Helping Hand Foundation at the S. O'Toole at o'tooleLawOffice.com, would that be acceptable?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So if you're ready, you could adjourn this meeting.
Okay, so other business in front of us is adjourn the meeting,
Zoning hearing board for April the 21st.
so, thank you.
Everyone for attending, thank you, Ms. Knight, thank you, Ms. Cameron. Please smile, maybe, Saturday.